Good morning, Year 4. Happy Monday. I hope you're all okay and I've had a wonderful weekend doing something that makes you happy and relaxed. And thank you for all of the work that you sent last week on your portfolio or on your dojo message. It's really, really interesting and so lovely to see all of the work that you've been getting up to. It's really important that we keep seeing your work so we can respond to it and give you some feedback. So please make sure that you're uploading it onto your portfolio or onto your messages on Dojo so that we can reply to you and give you feedback like we would in lesson. Okay, so we can give you some online purple pen. Okay, so I am again bringing you Wonder this week, and I have got for you Monday's lesson is geography. Okay, we do love a bit of geography. So I'm going to share my screen with you in a second and we'll see what we're learning today. Okay then guys, so in geography today we are we want to know how different rocks are formed by reading and researching so that we can identify the 3 different kinds of rock. So we're looking at 3 in particular and I have a little task for you to do at the end. Okay, so I've written at the bottom here in yellow exercise books as a reminder to me to tell you where to put it, because obviously we've given you lots of different books. And so some lessons in school we wouldn't do in our purple books, in our box set books. We wouldn't do every lesson in our books. So for those lessons that we don't do in our purple books, we're going to do in our yellow exercise books because it's more of a jotting lesson. Okay, if that makes sense. So what we would do in class or on whiteboards or on sheets that I give you, instead of doing it on those, you're doing it in your yellow exercise book. So see this book as a kind of jotter. Okay, so that's what we're doing today. Now, there are a few words that we need to know when describing and understanding rocks. So we're going to use our word selector and we are going to look at some of those words. So I'm giving you the definition, so you don't need to go and find it. The definition of durable is able to withstand wear and pressure or damage. So it makes them very hard wearing. They're very sort of strong. Okay, if you think about a strong rock, it takes a lot to break that rock down. And so on the right-hand side, I've got some synonyms of that word durable. So it's tough, it's a long-lasting rock, it's hard-wearing, so it's very difficult to break that rock down. The weather probably won't do it on its own, okay? And unfortunately, that little sound button is not one that I can click, sorry guys, but the word is durable. We've also got the word permeable, and so that's also used to describe a rock, and it's to describe a rock in particular that allows a liquid or gas to pass through it. Okay, so words that are similar to that, synonyms of that are absorbent and spongy. So if a rock is permeable, water can go inside it or liquid can go inside it, and that means it is absorbent, it can absorb or take in the water. Okay, so under the shade of the bottom of this screen, I've got another word and I'm going to tell you it, and I think you can use your spellings, cross-curricular here guys, we never stop learning. I've got another word for you that I think you can work out the meaning of because of the prefix that is on the word, okay? So you've got permeable, and that means allowing liquids to pass through. What do you think impermeable might mean? It's the same word, but with im at the start of it. I wonder. Have a little think for me. Okay, the big reveal. The meaning of impermeable is not allowing fluid to pass through. So it is the opposite. It doesn't allow it to happen. So permeable means that water can be absorbed and go through the rock, whereas impermeable means it does not let any water in. It is a very solid rock that is water resistant and waterproof. Okay, you might want to take a second to pause the video here and just note down those words in your yellow jotter because they're very important words that I would put on the working wall in school, so it's something that I would suggest making a note of. Okay, and when you've made a note of those, we'll look at the next slide. So the 3 types of rock that we're going to look at today are igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. Okay, now again, these are words that I suggest you write down for me with a small definition. If you write it in your own words, then it helps you to come up with your own understanding of the rocks. So igneous rock is formed after a volcano erupts, and this is why it's relevant to us. So after a volcano erupts, the magma, that hot rock, slides down the side of the volcano, along the edge of the volcano, and because it's erupted and it was red hot, it was 6,000 degrees inside the Earth's core, and then it's shot out into the Earth, into the world as we know it, and it's definitely not 6,000 degrees for us, is it? So even in the hottest areas where it's 35 degrees Celsius, it's definitely no longer as hot as 6,000. So it starts to cool. And as it slides down the side, it cools. And you can see that happening in videos where you might have seen lava before. And you can Google that on YouTube and see if you can find a video of lava sliding down the side. You can see it start to cool. So it cools as it goes down and solidifies. And this forms igneous rock. So igneous rock is basically like lava that has cooled down. Okay, so it's after a volcano erupts. So I want to pause and make a note of that. Okay, so some examples are basalt and granite, and you can see that there are a few more on here as well. Lots of different types. Now, these rocks are very hard. Now, I wonder if you can remind me of what word we give to rocks that are very, very hard and very tough. They are very durable. Well done, guys. They are very durable. And because they're so hard and so durable, they're usually impermeable. So that means water cannot pass through because they are impermeable. And that's, like I say, because they're quite strong rock usually. Okay, so pause the video again and make note of anything that you want to take from this slide before I move on. Okay, and the next one, we're looking at sedimentary rocks. Now, these rocks are formed over millions of years when sediments, which can be bits of other rocks, it can be bits of animal skeletons that have died and then gone into the ground. It can be lots of little bits of things like that. They are pressed together, often at the bottom of a sea or a river. They are pressed together with all of the things going on top, push it together. And basically what it is it's layers and layers of things all together that are crushed. And because they are crushed and there's so much pressure on them, they harden and they become rocks. And for example, we've got coal, chalk, and sandstone. Now, if you think about chalk, think about the chalk, for example, if we are writing on the playground, or think about the chalk that we might use on a blackboard if we were writing something down. Have a think about that. Do you think, I know the answer's kind of on slide, but do you think that, that chalk is going to be very durable or maybe not so durable? They're not as durable, they're not as strong, and they are usually permeable, okay? So they're not very strong and water can go through them because they are, even though they're pressed together, they're not as tight as other rocks are, okay? Other rocks are really, really tight together, but sedimentary rocks, they've been built up and they've been pressed together, but it's not the perfect tight pressure. Okay, that doesn't really make sense. I'm just trying to describe it for you. So sedimentary rocks are layered up and they are pressed together, but they aren't as compact as they could be, as other rocks are. So they are not the most durable and they are not impermeable. So they do let water go through them. So pause the screen and make a little note of any of the information from there. Okay, and our final rock. Now, metamorphic rocks are rocks that have changed from one rock to another because of heat and pressure. So, for example, slate and marble, these rocks were a different kind of rock, and then something happened. Either some pressure was put on it, or lots and lots of heat, and the rock changed from what it was before into this new rock. And they are usually very, very hard and very impermeable because it was a rock and pressure and heat has made it into an even stronger rock. Okay, so they are very hard, very impermeable, so water can't go through them, but they can be damaged by acid. So if, for example, there was acid rain or if there was acid, then that could, for example, lemon or lime juice on a marble worktop could damage it slightly because the lemon and lime and things seem to be quite acidic, so that could damage the rock. Generally, they are very strong and water cannot go through these. So pause and make a note of information from there for me. Okay, super. So now you should have lots of jottings about different rocks and about different words that we can use to describe rocks. Okay, I know this is a lot of making notes, but like I said, a lot of this I would put on the working wall for you, but I would like you to have a copy of this just so that you've got it to look back on. So what I want you to do now is I would like you to have a go at copying down this table and then filling it in for me. So it gives you the name of some rocks, and there are gaps so that you can research further rocks if you want to. So it gives you the name of some rocks. And then there's a column that asks, how is it made? Now in this column, you can, for example, slate. I mean, you can look in your notes or you can look back through this video and we can see that slate is a metamorphic rock. So in this box, you can put metamorphic or you can describe how metamorphic rocks are made. So I could put metamorphic, or I could put a rock that was changed due to pressure or heat. Okay, so it's up to you what you want to do. So for chalk, I might put sediments of animal bones and rocks crushed together. Okay, so you can either put the word, those 3 words, igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary, or you can put a little definition, it's up to you. And then permeable or impermeable, you just need to put the word there for me. And then is it durable? In this column, you could even put yes or no. Okay, so you're telling me how it was made, you're telling me whether it lets water through or not, and you're telling me if it is a strong rock or if it is not. Okay, so that's the task that I want you to do as a bit of an extra challenge because I know how much you like hands-on learning and how curious you all are. If you want to do something further, you could collect some rocks from around, maybe when you're on your daily exercise, if you go out for a walk, collect a couple of rocks, or from your garden or from your front yard, just have a look for some rocks, just a few, get a bowl of water, I would do one at a time, put a rock in, and if bubbles start to come out from the rock, that is air coming out because the water's going in. So if the water's going in, that means that that rock is going to be permeable, okay, because water can go in. So if you want to, you can do that yourself. Now that's completely up to you whether you want to do it or not. You don't need to send me pictures, but if you do, I would love to see how it goes. And you could end up sorting, if you've got a handful of rocks, you could sort them into ones that had bubbles, so the water went in, so they were permeable, or ones that didn't have bubbles, so there was no water, so they were impermeable. And you could make 2 groups of rocks for me. And that's just you being able to see the air and the air coming out and the water going in. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for you. I hope you enjoy the lesson and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all very soon, guys.